Okay, there we go. It was hanging at that one spot that it hanged at last week, and I was like, oh, please, God, don't. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining in. Welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. My name is Jonathan Rector. You can check out my website, my work at jonathanrector.com. I'll post that in the chat as well for everybody. And if you're watching on the recorded version, thanks so much. I also found out a way, apparently, live stream, after you're done recording, it actually saves a small condensed version on your hard drive, which I had no idea that it did. So I'm posting these on YouTube as well, for those of you guys that are in there. But anyway, just like last, what has it been, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, been about 2-3 weeks. Yeah, about 2-3 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. So that sexy voice you're hearing right now is my good buddy Eric.
Hello, everybody.
And so usually how the routine goes is he's here to not just help me, but you know, the way I'm finding as it's going is it's kind of like a different voice to some of these questions and stuff like that as well, where arguably you guys will come to me from the start, but I find Eric, he's probably more of like, I don't want to say the ground level in a negative way, but like he's where a lot of us currently are, and you bring a different flavor to it that you can voice that I'm not actually thinking of. So positive all the way around.
Thank you very much.
Hey, no man, thank you for coming and stopping by. And yeah, so anyway, so the way the show works is this show here is for you guys. This is for all the people that, you know, enjoy the videos that I put on YouTube. But the live stream here is just, again, for you guys and girls out there. If you have any comics-related questions, art-related questions, feel more than free to just toss it into the chat. And Eric and I will do our best to help you out. If we can't, maybe there'll be somebody in the chat that can help you out as well. And if you're watching the recorded version or something like that and you can't make it at the time, and I should probably say that, the show is every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you can't make it, by all means, I've had a couple people, they'll send me like a private message, ask me to address it, and I'll either address it on the show or I'll just respond to you right away. But other than that, Eric, you can give everybody a little shout out about what like new content you're doing or what you've been tackling this week. And while he's doing that, literally I'll just be working on this page here for the standard. And, you know, you guys have probably seen this one a little bit. And yeah.
Yep. So, I guess I should just kind of quickly give myself a little plug because I am definitely not above helping myself with promotion. You can find my work at youtube.com/ericfaries123. I'm kind of getting back into a good flow of working on things. I'm working on some new videos that I want to start up and got some projects, comic book projects that I'm going to be working on. So, definitely going to be trying to get videos out as often as I can, maybe once or twice a week, depending on what series I have. Right now, the only series I have that's kind of going on right now is my artist review series, which I'm thinking of changing the name because technically I'm not reviewing the artists as much as I'm showcasing them and kind of helping you guys find some of these artists that you might not have found, you know, on your own.
I like that, yeah. That's probably a better name for it too, for sure.
So I might call it Artist Showcase. But last week's episode was delayed because I actually have some ideas I want to start trying out for my episodes, and I needed more time to get it ready, so hopefully I'll have an episode this week, probably Thursday, before I do the live stream.
Awesome.
I'm also going to be trying to do a series that I think I talked about on here once before, and I think you even thought it would be a cool idea to do what I'm going to call Artist Block, where I actually do kind of my own small bio or documentary of a certain artist per week or per month, maybe.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
I
like
think
each
that's
month,
an excellent idea.
yeah, do each month expand one episode, maybe make it 20 minutes long of me just literally from beginning of their artist's life to the end of their artist's life, talk about an artist, you know, and just give you a history of them. So I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think that'd be amazing because I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't really seen much of that anywhere on YouTube. Granted, I haven't actually tried to look for it, but I have seen. Oh, you have? So you'd probably know better than I would.
Yeah.
Does it exist? Like, are there people doing it? Kind of.
You kind of find some people like every now and then. Like every now and then, if I go to, I don't know if you know about Channel Awesome or that guy with the glasses.com.
No.
He does have a few people who do comic book stuff like Linkara, and I think Mars Girl does animated, like manga and related. Jesu Otaku does anime, but I think Linkara and Last Comic Book Geek do comic book based stuff. Every now and then you kind of get brief histories from them, but not really. It's always pertaining to whatever comic book they're reviewing.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to do it that way. I want to literally tell you about their life and where they started and what big influences have they done.
Sure. Yep.
And we actually do have a question by Figs.
Sweet.
How much is Manga Studio current or before? Also, what was the tool used to move characters and body parts?
Ooh, for Manga Studio, honestly, I have no idea. I've actually
researching that right now.
Oh, thanks, Eric. I've tried looking online for Manga Studio 4, and it's difficult as hell to even find that.
I know, that actually shocked me.
It's like they're like not even talking about it. It's like the only option you have now is 5, which is really weird.
Amazon has Manga Studio EX4 for $38.95.
Wow.
And that's a new copy.
That's a boxed copy too?
Let me see if it's a box. It might be digital, which I think is actually I prefer. But they also have 2 other options, which I don't know what they're for. It's PC download, Mac download. I think the PC/Mac is just like in general. It might be the actual box itself. So I can't confirm that since I have not bought this Amazon version, but you can check that out yourself and see what if you want to try it.
I'll tell you right now, if it's the EX version, digital download, or box version for $40,
yeah,
that's a no-brainer to me personally. Because I remember coming out, I think it was around $300.
Yeah, that was when it first came out. Yeah,
yeah, and they were always throwing sales out, and I think I bought mine for $100. And it's weird because, like, you know, I'm assuming most of us pirate stuff, whether you'll talk about it or not. But Manga Studio was genuinely the first person that I actually bought. Was the first software that I bought just because it was on sale. And I was like, I don't know. There's something weird about it. It's like this mindset you go through, or at least I did, where it was like, you know what? I gotta like pony up something here, you know. And honestly, the cool thing about Manga Studio is, unlike Photoshop, which is really expensive, but it has way more tools. Manga Studio is literally all you would need to make comics. And the EX version, there's
no limit.
Yeah, even if EX5 has something magical that I'm not aware of, and I don't know everything about EX5, but even if there was something added there that I don't know, Manga Studio EX4 is phenomenal.
Also, for those of you wondering, I just looked on Manga when I typed in Manga Studio EX4 on Amazon. It also showed me Manga Studio 5, same type of download situation for $67.32.
Wow, what the hell?
Yeah, I think that's just
crazy.
a deal they're doing until they release the big one, you know.
Oh, okay, might be. I don't know. That's some crazy prices.
Yeah, well,
for what you're getting, I mean, that's
hey, that's Amazon for you, man.
Damn.
And it's coming from Smith Micron, so it's official. It's an official thing.
God. What was the other question there? The other part of it, moving something with.
He said also, what was the tool used to move characters and body parts? I think he's talking about your selection tool, like how you select an object to move it and that kind of thing. I think is that what you're talking about, Figs?
Yeah, were you talking about the 3D stuff, or were you talking about like when I was just moving characters around on the screen?
Okay, I said yes, but we technically asked 2 things there, so let's see. There's a delay, so he might have meant the first part, as in just moving art around. I'll wait for him to answer.
Yeah.
And apparently someone is... Almost didn't get to come in today, fussing around with my DIY Cintiq and got... Oh, wow. Lelek is apparently building his own Cintiq. Interesting.
Very interested in that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Which I've actually seen a lot of people do that. And I can't do it because I suck at electronics, but
oh yeah, same here, man.
I would end up probably blowing something up. But yeah, Figs, if you're just talking about like the way he selects an object and just kind of moves it around or alters its shape and all, into perspective, the way you move the character's leg and body back into perspective.
Okay, I'm assuming that means that's got to be 3D something there.
Assume.
Let's just try it. Okay, so it's been a while. I'm using Manga Studio. Did you have 5, or you wanted to know how to do this in 4? Well, I'm pretty sure it's the same in both.
I think from what you showed, yeah, it's about the same. I think they both have similar 3D aspects. So let's see what he says. And Mr. Inkbot decided to set a link to tabletmod.com, and apparently it shows you how to make tablets.
Awesome.
Oh,
I
these are
love the
actually, oh
internet.
wow, these are handmade tablets. These are really cool looking. Wow, that's awesome.
All right.
Also, keep them questions coming, people. We obviously need more stuff to talk about.
Actually, interesting. All right. All right. Let's try 4. Man, I don't know. I'm not very used to the 3D stuff, but I think it's literally, what is it? Import, import 3D. No, it wouldn't be a file. This is how much I use this stuff.
I think I've used it before.
Maybe make a selection and then it's something.
I'm gonna open up Manga Studio as well.
Yeah.
Two eyes.
Maybe it is. Okay, file. Let's try import. It's got to be something like that. Import.
Probably.
3D file. Let's just try it. See what happens.
Probably give you a list of...
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So sitting. I don't know. Soccer. No. Whatever. Tennis.
Yeah. With those, you can actually move them around, which is nice.
Well, where did he go? Oh, he's way up there. Dang. Okay, so here's our little whatever the hell this guy is. How do we make him? Transform. Where are you? Let's try it. Control T. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one tool that I don't use that often, just because it's just it's
so
much to it.
Yeah, it's pretty complex. I know I did use this for one panel actually in the standard where it was ahead. I couldn't draw it in perspective. I couldn't see it or whatever it was. 3D layer on your toolbar. Oh, okay. I guess I would have done it too. Okay, so you're just like, I don't understand how, like, a specific area. Like, for all I'm able to do is I just click where I want, and then you just pick the axis you want. So like to bring it forward, I can just rotate it like this, or you can just click and drag the whole thing.
It's not as confusing as it should, just because luckily I was used to 3D programs. It's just the way they set it up with the multiple joint layers kind of confused me at first.
Yeah.
What the fuck pose are you?
I don't even know. This guy's head's blown off and everything, man. I don't...
Oh my god.
Perfect pose. Yeah, exactly.
Holy crap.
But yeah, there's like all sorts of things here. Like if you just wanted to, I was just curious to know. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sure. But yeah, like there's stuff over here too where you can like rotate it on certain axes.
Yeah, you can get a little bit more control. You can also adjust the shading level of the model.
Yeah, where's that's somewhere.
I think it's at the bottom.
Oh, there you go, shading. Yep. So you want some heavier shading?
It's definitely very, very helpful.
Oh, big time.
That's one thing I was always looking at, like older, like a lot of books to try and find like the different shading, I guess, the planes of the body that you can generally shade, because that's always been my issue, is just trying to figure out how to shade objects, because I want to learn how to do it like almost noir style, where it's like very, very thick blacks everywhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been that good at knowing where to put them and how they should look and what muscles would determine it, like, and all that kind of stuff. Now it's just been the big mystery to me.
Oh no, exactly. Yeah, it's well, I mean, you're looking at like one of the best references you can get. Mignola be able to draw like that.
Yeah.
So I'll continue to say it. Like, arguably to me, like, I love Mignola's stuff. But when it comes to like really cool shadows and just environments and characters, the guy, I don't know if you guys know him or not, but Eduardo Rizzo, he did 100 Bullets. That guy's stuff, to me, blows most of that stuff out of the water. Just the way he's stacking blacks, and it's hard to describe stacking blacks unless you kind of see it. Actually, you know what? I don't want to just talk about it. I'm gonna grab an image and just show you guys here. What we got there? 100 bullets. And let's see if we get a page that's not just... Okay, something without nipples would be fantastic.
Yes, that would be very, very good for, you know, the live stream.
Yeah, hey, if you want to continue to do this,
If you don't want strikes on your page,
get rid of the nipples.
yeah. I'm against censorship anyway, but oh well.
Yeah, could be little babies in the room or something. I don't know. I'm okay. Actually, this one's perfect. Let me just drag it into here so you guys can see it.
I'm like
Okay,
Googling.
so we'll just make the size bigger here. All right, so as you can see, like it's very Frank Miller-esque, but like what this guy does that Frank does as well. But it's like this. What I'm talking about stacking blacks is like, okay, so over here in the right hand corner we have a nightstand, but there's enough information on there that you know what it is, but the light that it's casting also is showing you where the bed frame is going. And then you can see the character here, but like right here, this bottom left panel, this guy does a lot where he's showing so much volume with just black.
Yeah.
And like even this right panel here, like it's very Frank Miller, and but God, look at and the writing in this too, fuck, amazing.
Yeah, it's only it's like I've always been trying to do that kind of thick blacks, and it's like it just eludes me. It eludes me.
It's tough, man. It takes practice, obviously.
Yep.
But anyway, I would definitely check that guy's stuff out. Huge inspiration, that guy. and I feel it's weird. I feel like a lot of people don't know his stuff. He did do some Batman work, and I don't know. I didn't really care for that, but I think just because of the type of book that he was doing, that's probably why people didn't buy it. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they go to the comic book store, all they buy is superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I'm drawing a superhero book, so I probably shouldn't say that, but
No, I mean it happens.
yeah.
That's why I'm trying to make sure my mini comic is a little off sense of the superhero type thing.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, we haven't.
So tell us more.
For those in the chat who don't know, I am working on a web comic, mini comic actually. I'm going to start with the mini comic before I move on to my web one.
Right.
Oh, wait. Did the stream derp for anyone else? I think the stream went dead. Yeah, I think the stream, because I can't hear anything.
Should be good.
Here, let me refresh the page, because everyone's yelling. Like, what's happening? It died. Okay, let me refresh.
Like on my side, it's saying perfect streaming, but I guess everybody else is having a problem.
Yeah, here, let me refresh and see if that fixes it. Yeah, refresh. Here, let me. If that works, then I'll just tell him to refresh. Can't hear myself.
It's okay. Now I'm getting lost internet connection, which can't be true because I'm talking to you.
Yeah, that's weird. Huh. Something's acting stupid.
It's saying perfect stream, and now
Oh, it's back up. It's back up. It's back up. There we go. Whew. We're back. Oh my god. Good.
Fail boats.
That was weird. Okay, so everything's okay. Everything is good. Everyone's saying it's good, so we must be good. And let me type. If you're still experiencing issues, refresh. There we go. All right. So everything should be good.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Here, let me. Okay. Yeah. It's about a 10 to 20-second delay, but hell, we'll do what we can deal with. Anyway, I guess I should continue where I left off.
Try again. Yeah.
Right, so to any of you who do not know, I am currently working on a mini comic. I had to make sure I said that correctly since I said webcomic last time. Mini comic. It's just gonna be a quick one shot. Probably, I don't know. I'll probably make it just like 30 pages, 32 pages long, just because I can't write short material.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'll try to make it short if I can. But anyway, it's just something that I figure I might as well do before I do anything else, just so I can get myself in the work and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know, trying to get back into it, you know, all that kind of crap. And it looks like it froze again.
Wow. I love LiveStream.
Sunken mother heaver. Well, if it's not one thing, it's something else. That's what I'm typing to them.
Man, like I used to use Ustream. That sucked.
Yeah, I remember Ustream.
It's like, I swear these streams, what they do is like after, I've heard people talk about this too. It's like once you start to accumulate a certain amount of views, and not that I'm getting like phenomenal amount of views or anything, but it's like they start to show signs of like wear and tear. Yeah, so it makes it look like, oh well, if you buy it,
yeah, right,
it fixes all that, and you're like, oh, so I see what you guys are doing here. Shenanigans.
Yep. And I have it unmuted, so if it does pop back on, I should be able to hear it. Everything says all right on the stream side, on your side.
It's attempting to reconnect.
Oy. Maybe we should try turning the podcaster off and then restarting it.
All right, I'll try that out right now.
That way, hopefully, it'll refresh itself.
It's funny. It's saying like the local MP4 is still recording. So even though it's not online, it's like streaming.
Oh, it's back. Holy crap, that was weird.
Whoa. I'm gonna die.
That was weird. That delay was like barely any delay. It was like a 2-second delay. Holy crap. That was weird.
Hey, so is everybody enjoying themselves? Holy crap.
Everyone enjoying the nice little, you know,
cool
live stream F's up. Oh, right. I guess for anyone who cares to look at my stuff, I guess I forgot to type that. No, not Hellblaze. Eric. Make sure I spelled that right. Yeah. There you go. Okay, stream seems to be working. That's actually kind of funny. I actually pretty much am abandoning my first YouTube account I ever made.
Oh, really?
Because for a while I've had 3. I've had my first channel, which was general gaming, which means I did Terraria, Towns, any game I felt like playing. And then I had my Minecraft channel, which is just Minecraft gameplay, anything that has to do with Minecraft LPs, and then my art channel. But both my art channel and my Minecraft channel are doing so much better, and I just don't enjoy recording for the other one because a lot of the games that I record for it, I don't enjoy commentating over.
Okay.
They're kind of games that I want to just sit and play for myself. And
I hear a lot of people that they're doing that like recorded commentary after. I find that weird. Like, why wouldn't you just try talking as you record? Is it just too crazy? Or
for first-person shooters,
okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be talking while you're trying to concentrate on shooting somebody. It's very distracting. And for me, I like to try and enjoy the game that I'm playing. Like Fallout New Vegas, I could never record. I enjoy that game way too much, and I love playing it, and I just want to sit and enjoy the game. So if I have to commentate over it, I'm distracting myself from key points of the game that I need to focus on.
Yep.
And 2, I feel like I'm forcing myself to come up with something to talk about.
Sure.
While with Minecraft, it's such an entertaining and simplistic type of game that I don't have to really spend so much time thinking of what I'm going to talk about because I can just talk about whatever the hell I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or in my case, I do dual commentaries with a couple of my friends. So I'm interacting with them. I can ping back and forth off of them. So, and obviously my art channel, I'm doing how to draw videos, artist showcasings, and those are fun. Those are entertaining. I love doing them. So.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of one of those. It's just I feel that channel has run its course. these two channels, especially with my YouTube channels, my art channel being partnered now, I think. I'm still waiting to hear back the final word of what I have to do next to finalize it, but they've accepted me. I signed the contract, so just waiting to hear back.
Right on.
And with that going on, I need to make sure I focus a lot of my attention on potential money that I can use to make comics and make money to help pay for groceries and stuff, you know?
Yeah, no, like I'm a firm believer is like if you can make money while you're showing the comic that you're making and using that money to put into the comic, like it'll fuel itself. People will see what's happening. Like literally the money they're paying is going to direct content. I don't know. I find a lot of people are, pretty pumped about that.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Lilek, he says, I have a question for you, John. When I draw on paper, I could get my line weights perfect, but with the transition to digital, I find myself always struggling. How did you manage the transition?
I don't know if I really have. A lot of the time, when I use paper right now, and I'll use a pen or a pencil, I get much different art quality than I do working digital. I don't think I've ever actually had like how I'm drawing right now. It would never look like this if I drew it with a pencil. I'll tell you that right now. And I think that's just the way the tools are. And you just kind of like Enigma's kind of saying, you kind of relearn. Like there's certain things that you kind of have to go back and learn differently. But there's a lot that carry over and stuff like that. But for myself, I have never figured it out.
Yeah, I'm finding myself going through that actually.
Yeah.
Because I said it to you, but I don't think they heard. But about the blue pencil thing.
Oh yeah.
Where for some reason using black lead pencils just seems to screw me up for some reason. Whenever I'm sketching with it and I'm trying to do this with the roughs and everything, I can't seem to get it to look the way I want with the black lead. All of a sudden I switch to that blue lead, and it's like all of a sudden magic has struck me. It's like I just yelled Shazam,
Yeah.
And the lightning has hit me, and I'm like, I'm doing great now. And even my inking, even though I do like inking digitally because it saves time and it saves materials, I enjoy the look of micron pens, even though they don't give me that line width variation, like for pressures and all that kind of stuff. Sure. The way I draw anyway, I don't use it.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, all I need is my number 5, my number 3, and my number 8. 5 for the main lines, 3 for the small detail lines, and then the 8 to outline everything. Kind of like how you do, where you do your first line and you outline it.
Yep.
I've gotten into doing that myself now.
Oh, really?
And it does add a whole new effect.
Yep, it totally changes the way your art looks.
So I think it is just a whole thing of just one, finding the tools you're comfortable with. Things that just, if it feels right when it's kind of like an instrument. You can go to a guitar shop and there'd be a wall of guitars. But even if they all say Fender Telecaster and they're all the exact same looking guitar, you pick up each individual one and start playing one, each one's going to feel different. And you have to find the one that fits you and just seems to work for who you are, how you play. And the same with art. You have to find the tool that works. And sometimes, yes, you are going to have to struggle to learn the tool if it's a tool that you're not familiar with, like digital, and it's going to take you a little bit. But if you're doing it, and even if you're struggling, it still feels like something you can get into and it feels right, then you're going to have a much easier time learning it because you're going to want to learn it. You're really going to want to learn it, and it's going to make it so much more enjoyable learning it. So that's definitely something you got to do. You got to really think about it and really find the tool you're comfortable and enjoy using. That at least that's the way I see it.
No, I agree.
Mr. Rob Sonic, I can't say that right, says, hey John, any advice on tackling a 10 plus panel dialogue page?
Yeah, just send it back and say you don't want to do it.
Yeah. I like John Lee. My first tip, punch the writer in the face.
Right in the face.
Why would you have 10 panels on a page?
Because they read a lot of Bendis. That's why. But
even,
how's it going?
God,
Robinson Inc. I hope you're doing well, brother.
Yeah.
I haven't seen some of your art in a little while, so you're letting me down. I saw you post a couple pictures on Facebook of you singing, but I don't know. Not seeing any comic pages. Anyway, how would I tackle that?
Ugh.
Can you show the script, or
To be
does it just
honest,
sound like an NDA?
if I were to give an honest opinion, I would say try to cut the panels layers down and try to combine panels that you feel can be combined. Like
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Some writers, though, they'll say, no. Unfortunately.
I would say talk to him about it because 10 panels, I'm sorry, that's just unless you're doing something really cool looking like I know a lot of older comic books used to do it where they would have these it would just be one page, it's just like this big scene that's going on and they have like people's face reactions. They have like 5 reaction panels for each person's face and all this. I can understand that, but geez, 10 panels, good god.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I would look at my writer and say, no, I am not doing that. I am combining some of these panels.
Yeah. Like, trust me, trust you that you can do it. I've been banned to post the books or on Facebook. I'll probably mention, okay, in the script. Do you mean terrible excuse for writing on a piece of paper? Well, if you want to inside baseball. Sorry, everybody.
Speaking of comics, though, I've been trying to find issue 1 of the Standard to buy, and I'm having trouble finding a copy.
Hey, John, tell everybody why they're having troubles finding it.
Yes, please tell me, because I want a copy. I want a copy. Especially now that I actually have money. It's not often that I have money. I mean, obviously I can't spend all my money since, then my bank would be pissed at me again, but it's not often I can actually afford to get something.
I will say I do have some available on my site, but I believe it's like $30 for. It's like the artist edition one, so you get like a sketch in the back and stuff. But
yeah, normally I would jump all over that to get a sketch from you, but right now I can't really afford to.
No, man, don't. Yeah, don't need any excuse. Trust me.
I've been really getting disdained by the just increasing price of comic books these days, man.
Yep.
Because I have an old comic book that was like when it was printed, it was like 75 cents, and then I have another one that was like $1, and then now these new ones are like $3, and then some of the newer ones are now like $5-6. Manga, I can understand being $9 because it's a bigger book, you get more pages, but still.
And it's black and white, yeah, for sure.
But paying $6 or $7 for a 36-page book. It's just like, eh. That's why I would like to be independent on a lot of my early stuff. That way I can kind of set the price myself.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, and for any of you out there who want to be an independent comic artist, I always love shouting out this place is, I think it's Kablam. Great printing place for being an independent artist. You can get your stuff published on your own by printing it yourself through them. They have a lot of great services. Basically, you can either do hardcover, you can do softcover, you can do manga-sized books. They got all these great printing options. But they also have really cool things. They have 2 other sites. One site is for you to actually sell your comic to people. You can actually just post it on there, and they won't take any money until they actually have to print it. And then that's all included in the asking price anyway, so you just get the profit. And then they have a site that's designed for people, or not people, comic book shops to buy your comic from them to put in their stores. So it's really cool.
Yep, just the only thing that sucks about that site for me is if you live in America, awesome. If you live outside of America,
yeah,
horrible. And I can't blame them. I mean, shipping.
Yeah. Also, Lambach, yes, you can always ask questions. Even if we're talking about something, we will get to your question. So ask away. We never disdain questions. We always love questions because it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
For when our minds go blank.
Oh, shit.
Okay, Inkbot wants to know what you think about Manga Studio vector layers.
I don't think I've really used them. I tried it once just to see what it was like. There's somebody that I was working for. They wanted characters done in vector so they could, make it any size. But other than that, I really don't use vector.
Yeah, the only time I see
Really don't like
vector
drawing in it.
being, the only place I see vector being really, really useful is in animation. That's where it
Yeah.
comes into really good, like, to use vectors, because then you can like, zoom in and zoom out for dramatic effects and such without it getting all, pixelated because it's a raster image.
Yep. But other than that, yeah, no, I really don't have any. I don't want to say positive things to say about it. Just not for what I use Manga Studio for. If I was doing like maybe just like a character that like a client or like let's say John wanted me to draw like the standard so that he could use it as a logo or something, like just like a picture of him standing sideways or something that he could use on like envelopes or I don't know, whatever, then maybe do it in vector then, but I don't know. Most people they just want like a 300 DPI image or something, 600 DPI.
Yeah, and especially with comic books, 90% of the time you draw them at almost 2 to 3 times the size that's going to be printed at anyway, so it's going to be shrunk down, so you don't even have to worry about that really.
Yep.
Oh boy.
All right. Some fun stuff here drawing lines and clouds.
Lines and clowns. Oh god, Figs wants to know when is Squirrel God coming out. That is up to you.
I posted on Facebook. I don't know if you're on Facebook or not. I changed my little header cover thing or whatever just to show people because I had a lot of people asking about like what books I have or what they can get and that kind of stuff or whatever. But because I always post projects I'm working on and it always seems like I have like a whole bunch that I'm doing. But the way that it's looking right now, the way it's going to go is the standards number. Like this will be coming out first. There's 6 issues. Was
I'm sorry.
Release when loosen my voice. And that's true. Everything John just said there's true.
That's what I was laughing at. Oh god.
His vice-like grip on my balls. It's oh my god. But yeah, so to be the standard, there's 6 issues. I'm wrapping up issue 4 right now, and then there's the Jessup King mini comic that'll be released. I think what is it? January, February. It's March right now. April. By the end of April, I want to have it done. So you guys will be able to buy that if you're interested. And then it's going again back to the standard. And then once the standard's done, then I'm going on to the Hero Code with Jamie Gamble. And then my other book called Drudge, that a lot of people don't know too much about that. I made some noise about it last year, but never got a chance to get it done. But I figured, let's be proactive this year and just like blitzkrieg everybody with comics and see what happens.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. So Drudge is coming out, and then it'll be Squirrel God. And the reason why Squirrel God's at the very back burner, there's some heavy lifting I still have to do with that project. It's going to be a graphic novel size, and it's going to be quite a lot of work. I'm really excited to do work on it, but these other stories, they're just kind of like 24 pagers, so they're a little bit easier to hammer out. And at the same time, too, we were kind of talking about it, I believe it was last week, about webcomics.
Yeah.
And at least the model right now that I'm trying to get is that the Squirrel God book, that'll be totally free, 100% free online, webcomic style. And then at the end, we'll figure out what the hell we can do to monetize if people are interested in buying like a paper copy or something.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I don't have the option to go through Kablam. My art book, you can get through Kablam. And, I don't know. I just don't like the fact that I got to find a Canadian printer is all it really comes down to it.
Yep. All right. We actually have 2 more questions. So since you've been talking, we have one for Robinson K. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm
Robinson.
Robinson.
It's Robin.
Robinson.
What did he put? Robinson Inc.
Robinson Inc. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry for butchering your name. John, when tackling hairstyles, do you have an inner reference that you pull from that you have picked up from other artists, or do you just wing it from hair parting lining? So that one first.
Most of it's winging it. I do try to draw it in chunks, but there's a few artists that I always like to look at. One of them is Trevor Charest. I don't know if you guys know his work or not, but once you see his stuff, you'll probably go like, I think I've seen this guy. Like a lot of guys like Jim Lee and stuff, like you might not notice it, but that's where they get their hair from. And what they do is they draw in like layers. I know it's a little harder to sound, but or to say. Basically, it would look something like this here. Let's make a new layer. Yep. So we'll get a little face. And during my sketch is where I would rough out the layer or the hair. So I'm going to give it the big chunky hair again. So rough in where your hairline would be usually helps. And then you can start pulling your hair where it should go. And then just kind of like, again, chunk shapes. Think of it like squares. And the reason why you're doing the chunk stuff is because you can still frame. It's easier to, for me anyway, to draw in chunks like this because I can now see the composition. I can see the contour lines where the face would fall in. And you're not really worried about the details too much at this point. And then we're just going to lower it up, and then we're going to make a new layer, and we'll kind of do the tight line art on there. Let's get the face going here.
Even when you're drawing toony styles, it looks good. You could do your own like gag a week comic with that type of style that you just drew.
Like that's another thing I don't know, I'm trying, I don't want to say keep under wraps, but one of the ideas or one of the webcomics that I have, there's two that I got on the back burner right now where it's very similar to this kind of style, where it's either a superhero one or kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing kind of thing. But, you know, time and, you know, if we've got it and all. Anyway, so let's get into the hair part. Like I was saying, where you draw layers, so like especially in the sideburn, you kind of get like these wavy lines, but remember it's all getting pulled into a direction, so it's getting pulled behind the ear. So that's how I would kind of do the sideburns, and sometimes you can get away with just doing like a scratchy thing like that. But up here, let's say in the hairline, I'll always pick like one strand of hair that'll overlap everything, so kind of maybe go like this. And I'm just, you know, maybe Thor kind of hair. And then all underneath, you can actually, again, do those wavy lines to follow that hairline that you already have. And then that original line you had, you can kind of give it its own strand of hair. And then now that you have that, you can do this kind of feathering if you want to do this style of hair. If not, you know, I don't really care to do that, but follow that chunky style you had, but keep it a little bit more organic this time. Add a little bit more strands of hair. But you're still following like the chunky shapes. Now this is where it gets kind of cool, is now that you have these lines, pick a light source, so we're going to say it's coming from the top. Have some lines coming, and when they hit the strand of hair that you have, instead of drawing the line underneath like that, just skip it. Just skip a little part of it like that. So in the next line you come in, skip it. And you can do that all the way out throughout the whole thing. And it gives it this really weird organic kind of look and feel to it. So if I zoom out a little bit, it starts to look a little bit more like there's more going on there than there really is.
And a lot of older artists used to use a similar concept, except when they did it, they would do, like, instead of just drawing individual strands or individual bulks, they would do very thick black lines that would kind of give the same effect so that they didn't have, like, it basically allowed them to where they could just color over it with one tone of color without having too much shading. You know, this is back in, you know, Jack Kirby's days, you know.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Where like ink bleeding all the time was like normal.
Yeah, so they had to be very creative with the way they did detail.
Yep, and Robinson's saying the same thing, like skip lines like veins. Exactly the same idea.
Yep.
It's pretty powerful what you can do with lines. Like, and I'm assuming a lot of people, even if you don't like Jim Lee, you're familiar with his work, but they'll do something where it's like, even if it was this face here, so let me delete it. And we'll make a new layer. Even though the light source is coming from the top, don't draw every single line that's closest to you. So even though the nose might look like that, you don't have to draw this side right here at all. You can just draw underneath it. And what you'll see sometimes is they'll do this, like, let's say this guy's got a mask on. So instead of drawing the whole mask like this, let me just get his face in there. What you can do is actually skip all of this up here and just get like a nice faint line to go to thick, like that. You got to be kind of careful with this because you can get a little dangerous if you don't leave enough information for everybody to see what's going on.
Yeah. Another good reference to go to is a lot of manga-based artists usually used to use this technique, especially the older ones, where if there was a lot of light and they were trying to show that there was a big light source coming at you, they would sometimes leave lines with gaps in them, especially with like lips or noses, so that they could kind of symbolize where the light's coming from without really having to show too much shading.
And there you go.
Also, Mr. Lambach said, I've recently seen Jer's video on using paths for making building faces and patterns in Photoshop, and he was wondering if it was possible to indicate a website that provides downloadable paths.
None that I know.
I know.
If there is, yeah, they're probably going to charge you for it.
I actually believe you and me had this conversation once where we were like, where can we find these?
Yeah. Like, I only literally found out how to do that with that Freddie Williams book, again, the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics. He talked about it, and he shows an example of how he makes them. And I don't feel like I'm giving away secrets or anything like that, but, you know, if it's in a book, like, whatever, we're all talking here. I highly recommend buying the book. I will state that first. But usually what he'll just do is just grab, like, a Google image search and just kind of, like, paste it into Photoshop, adjust it, and then, you know, you go over and you make the path like you're copying a window, and then you paste it, which works really well. And then what I've even done is, like, sometimes I'll just make my own buildings, and, like, they don't look as cool as if you copied something, obviously, but no, there's got to be something out there, right? But that's a resource that takes time to do.
Yeah.
So I could see if let's just say I released one and I charged money for it, I would assume people would actually pay it, as long as it wasn't some astronomical cost.
Like, I've seen some, like, I've yet to find anyone who sells paths. Like, I cannot find anyone who sells them, which baffles me, but I've seen a lot of 3D artists who sell, like, their models to people so that they can use them in, like, their projects and all. And I've seen some really good ones and I've seen some really bad ones, but the thing that amazes me is the price difference a lot of times is just so almost insulting at times. Like, I know they put a lot of work into it, but the price they're asking seems, to me, at that point, you might as well just find a friend who can do it for you at that point.
Yep.
But I do like the ones who are lenient enough to say, hey, even though this takes a lot of work, a lot of these artists and guys have gotten so used to it that they could do that same thing that took someone else like 3 or 4 hours and probably do it in an hour because they've done it so much. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I can release it for, you know, I'll release this nice looking model for $20. You know, I'm not stingy. And that's the way I always feel about stuff. You know, I don't like to overprice people, you know, for people to get.
No, yeah, and there's, like, I think two thoughts on that, right? Like, one of them is, it's kind of like when you go to a museum where people that paint, they expect, or they try to charge, like, at least $1,000. I'm not about to debate whether or not it's worth $1,000, but you know, people's perception of value is different than mine in certain things, which is cool. But I can definitely see somebody wanting to charge that kind of money, as well as somebody going, I could make that kind of money just in volume, as opposed to just selling, like, let's just say I made, like, I don't know, 50 paths for you guys to buy, and I charged $500 for it. Maybe one person would buy it, I would guess. But if I charged $5 for it, maybe 100 people would buy it, right?
And then you made up the money in volume rather than in just one single buy. And you're making friends. You're making customers. You're making people who are going to come back multiple times because they know that you're honest, you give good quality, and you don't overcharge them.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I've been trying to think of. And that's the reason why I like Kablam, even though I know it's not for Canadian or outside the US.
No. I've bought stuff from them too. I mean, I like everything they do. I have.
And really, the comic book thing is going to be mostly my own, unless I do find people who want to hire me. But I expect that to be later on down the road. What I want to focus on now is, one, my own comic book stuff, and two, maybe doing commissions. You know. YouTube thumbnails, YouTube backgrounds. I can do those. I made my own Minecraft one. I made most of the thumbnails for HD Drew. I don't know if anyone of you know him, but I did a Crisis 3, Tomb Raider, the Aliens Colonial Marines, and I also gave him a Dead Space 3 commissions for YouTube thumbnails. So,
Sweet deal, man.
yeah, that's how I got the money to afford my nice little one, to afford Fallout New Vegas, which I love, and also to afford.
Man, actually, I didn't even think about that. There's probably a big money in that, designing people thumbnails on YouTube. I didn't even.
Oh yeah.
Really consider that. Wow.
And really, I mean, I don't mean to like downplay my own work or anything, but it's not the hardest thing in the world to do, because you do have some leniency, since most of the design work is basically done for you in many ways. Like, I know what Lara Croft looks like, especially the new design, which I know a lot of people hate the new design, but I like the new design better than the old design. I'm sorry, it's better. In my opinion. But Crisis 3, again, the suit is done for me. You know, a lot of those things are done for you to where you're just drawing them in your style.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I view that with YouTube thumbnails. Now, obviously, if you're doing a character of them, like their character in the game kind of thing, that's a whole nother story. You know, you're really getting into proving how good of an artist you are.
Yeah.
If you can make a toon version of somebody. Which is actually what I've been trying to work on for my own stuff. I've been trying to draw myself as a toon character, and I think I've actually got a good view here. The funniest thing is, the biggest debate I was having on Facebook was whether I should draw my guy with just glasses without any eyes behind them, or with just a line and a dot for an eye behind them.
No, always without. Always without.
Yeah, but
that's my way of looking at it.
I actually got more people saying they liked it with the eye.
Seriously?
And even now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I like the eye. Because my expression a lot of the times is my eyes are never like fully open. I always look either sad or tired.
Oh, okay.
So I want to be able to portray that emotion of, even though I don't emote that much, it's still something that is mine, you know? I'm always very...
Yeah.
My first girlfriend always said I look like a sad puppy. I'm like,
wow.
Thank you. That makes me feel awesome.
Okay. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? I don't know.
Well, to her it was a good thing, so that works.
I guess that's all that matters.
Let's see. Anyone have any more questions, please? Throw some questions out at us, people. Or we're going to end up dominating the conversation with random crap. Although I guess we could talk more about like webcomics, since that's actually a big thing that both of us are now getting into.
Trying to, man.
Yeah. Thing with me is, especially with webcomics, is I always have trouble with the I always have trouble with writing my own scripts. That is my biggest thing. I'm not a script writer, so whenever I have to write my own story, oh my god.
You could always find somebody to help you. I mean, there's tons of people willing to do it.
Yeah. I might need to help. Like, I have one friend who wants to do a comic with me called Spider Chronicles, and he wants me to be the artist. And I'm definitely doing it. I mean, I'm definitely fucking doing it. But I might ask him if he wants to also help me out with my Flare webcomic.
May as well.
Because I have all these ideas, and I have all the design and the story in my head. I have so much trouble getting it down on paper.
Yep.
That's
why the writers exist,
yeah.
man.
I almost feel like just pulling a Jack Kirby and just start drawing. You know, just draw the story down as I think of it, you know, and then just worry about the text later.
We talked briefly about that. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I got some pretty solid results doing that myself, but
I never like to underplay the great work that writers can do, especially foreign artists. I mean, they really do help artists with getting the idea down and getting the vision that you really need, and getting that good, well thought out story.
Yep.
So, let's see. Oh, here we go. Robin or Robs. I can't. My eyes.
Basically, just
Robson,
put like the easiest way.
Robson.
Yeah.
Robson.
It's like think Robinson, and then you.
Robson. Hey, John. How do you balance professional, which may at points become overbearing and tiresome, with the doodles and fun pictures you want to do? And I don't mean your lunchtime sketches.
Uh, that's a tough one because, like, I agree with you a lot of the time. I mean, I think there's this. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically, celebrated view of if you could draw comics all day, you'd be in heaven. There's a lot of truth to that. If you were drawing your own comics, yeah, you'd probably be in heaven. And
Almost definitely.
I've made no qualms about it. I love working on the projects that I do have. I love working with the clients that I have. But there's no denying that ideally I would love to work on my own stuff as opposed to working on other people's work, right? And I think a lot of people would agree to that. And it's more of it's not a slight to the work or anything, but let's be honest, there's a reason why, like in this case, John needed somebody to help him visualize the story. He couldn't do that to the best of his abilities, right? So he needs somebody to tell his story. There comes a point where eventually you want to be that person, right? So like even going back to you, Eric, where it's like you have trouble with the writing, so it might literally be you have to hire a writer to look over your script, like a high quality writer to look over it so that they can put the polish on there that you wanted to get but you don't know how to get. So there's a lot of variables that go into things like that, but to manage the time outside of just trying to get faster, I guess it's, I don't know, like I've had times where it's like sometimes I have to work on this, and I've been really terrible with the deadlines on this project. I can't even try to hide that. We're actually way behind. I shouldn't say we. I should say I'm actually way behind because everybody's waiting on me to do these pages. But sometimes, being unprofessional gets the better of me. Where it's, I don't want to work. I'm burnt out, so I'll just do a sketch, even though the professional version of you would, or what the professional should do is, it doesn't matter if you're tired. You sit down and you draw.
Yeah.
Somebody's putting their money into you. You gotta repay that. You gotta be honorable. You gotta pay that back.
And that was one of the biggest respects I always had for John Romita Jr. Say what you want about maybe the slight inconsistencies in sometimes with his art, but he gets the job done. He gets it done. Yep. It still looks good in the end. So it's just something to really admire.
Yep, and it's definitely something that I think everybody in this room should strive to do, is find ways to literally kind of marry those two together so you have the time to do what you want to do in living color, but at the same time, you've got time to, have fun, do what you want to do.
And there's also the scenario, kind of what you're in also, is that you have another job that can take up a lot of time. I mean, I'm sure you'd love to just be spending all day working on comic books and working on this and really, and then you'd never miss a deadline ever. Like, you'd never be behind. But unfortunately, it comes to the point where you have a job that's helping support what you're doing and allowing you to live in your house. So you sometimes, I think you sometimes get tired, but it's a hard.
I get tired all the time,
balance. Man. It's just a hard balance to find.
And the scary part as well is it's oops, sorry, I'm getting lost here in my inks. But the scary part is ultimately, I think that's what everybody wants to do, regardless of the job they have. They want to be doing comic books as their main source of income. And honestly, man, I'm sorry. I wish I had better advice or something to give you, but like, I'm probably the last person you should ask, because I feel like even if I'm spending all my time working for clients' work and stuff, that if I post a single sketch or even just telling you guys that I have my own books coming out, that's a disservice, because, in this case, John, he's paying me to do this stuff, and other people down the food chain, the colorist, the writer, all that's, or not the writer, but the colorist, the letterer, all that stuff, getting it sent to the publisher, it's all like, they can't do anything. Their arms are tied until I actually hand them artwork. So if I'm putting a sketch online, it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel guilty about it. So I don't know.
And another way of answering also is, do you live on your own? You're by yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that means you're supporting yourself entirely. However, there might be situations where some of you might not be on your own. You might have the support of someone else. Like in my situation, I live with my father. I have no problem with living with my father, but in this sense, I don't have to earn enough money to completely support myself 100%. All I have to do is earn enough money to make up what we're losing and still be able to support what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
in my sense, I can afford to sit around all day without a second job, writing, just drawing comics all day, working commissions all day. I can afford to do that because any bit of money that I get in, even if it's a little bit, would still be helpful. With someone like you, you have no choice but to have the second job because you support yourself entirely, and not only yourself but a cat. And everyone knows a pet can cost a lot of money, especially when you have to go to doctors with them, the vets, shots, food.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
But like, I just want to shed some quick. I don't mean to interrupt. I know you keep talking. I interrupt you.
No, go ahead. It's your show.
No. Screw that. But I just want to say real quick, like the second job I have doesn't necessarily. I don't need that to support myself. It's this weird feeling where it's, I don't know if any of you guys share it, where it's, let's say you all have full-time jobs or part-time jobs. I guess I'd mostly be talking to the full-time job crowd, where it's you're there because it's comfortable, even if you love it. Like, I just got a fantastic job working with a local video game company. Working in video games is something that I wanted to do since I was a little kid. But as I grew up, comics really start to like pull at my soul, and that I'm not a religious guy. I don't believe in souls, but that if you want, I'm just calling it a soul, like that energy inside you, that creativeness, or there's something, a passion, right? And there's something about comics that I can't get doing video games, or at least not yet, that I can't get just writing. There's something in comics that I don't know what it is. And I was kind of talking to my girlfriend about this last night, where it's scary because, like, I know what I need to do, and I'm sure a lot of you guys in the room know exactly what you need to do. And you'll hear successful people, they'll say what they did and what it is what you need to do, and all it is literally take the chance and do it. And the chance in my case would be is quit the job I just got, even though it's a fantastic job and people would just eat that job up in a heartbeat. And I'm not saying I'm just taking the job because it's money and it makes me secure and stuff, but like, if I wanted to really be where I want to be in comics, I have to do comics, right? Yep. And I've heard people do crazy things where they would work at a factory for like a year, literally bank all the money they could and literally live off the bare minimum, healthy, but the bare minimum, or even 2 years, and just bank all that money and then live on your own for a year off that money you saved, just so you could put all of that into comics or whatever it is you wanted to do, writing, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's fear. And fear is so powerful, and it's scary, and unfortunately, like, I might die. I might release Squirrel God, and it was the only book I ever created that was a graphic novel that I made that I like, but I would still feel like shit if that's all that I was able to do.
And I think that's the fear. Sorry to interrupt, but I think going on what you're saying, I think that's the biggest fear for an artist, really, is to know that even if we create something that we feel is our greatest moment at that time, there's that fear that we're not going to be able to recapture that or surpass it, or maybe even get to the next level. And that's a fear that all artists have to cope with, is, can we push ourselves to that next level? And unfortunately, sometimes there are going to be things that are going to feel like holding you back, and you have to find a way to just push past them and just say, no, I'm doing this, get out the way.
Yep. And actually, I was talking to my lady again last night. I don't know how many of you guys are into Tony Robbins. I'm sure most of you have heard of him. He's a motivational speaker. He's been around for a fucking long time. Mm-hmm. And he has this one really cool thing that I actually used to do 2 years ago. And once this stream's done, which is about now, it looks like we're over the hour mark. But
we also have 2 other questions.
Yeah, I'll answer that in the post-show here. But he talks about the two motivating things that motivate humans, doesn't matter who you are, seem to always be pain and pleasure. I'm sure you guys have heard of this to death. But he's like, but how do you switch it so that you can turn basically it into not pain and pleasure, but pain and pain? So what you'll do is, quick example, let's say comics is what you want to do for the rest of your life, but your fear is, or what's happening is you wake up in the morning all jazzed, and all of a sudden maybe you have a conversation with somebody, and now you're not doing anything, and you get all bummed out for the rest of the day because you didn't do your comics.
God, I have that feeling all the time.
Exactly, right? So what he suggests you do, and I've done it, and it works to a degree. I mean, you got to be disciplined with it, but it's, you make a list of this would be your list. What is the worst part right now if you didn't do the comic? If you didn't do the comic right now, write down a list. So you'd write down like, if I don't do the comic, I'm going to hate myself. I'm going to feel discouraged. I'm going to feel like I let myself down. I'm not living to my full potential. But that's not just it. I mean, get real with it, right? Be like, if I don't do this comic stuff, I'm going to be stuck living the life that I live right now. And you might be comfortable and happy with your family and stuff, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like let's say you want to be a comic book professional artist. Yeah. You need to make steps towards that. So you be real with yourself. Be violent with yourself to the point where it's, get scared by what you're writing. That's what you want to do. You want to scare the hell out of yourself. So now that you have that list, now beside it, you basically write the opposite. You would write the other pain side. So if you don't act today, if you don't want to do comics, what's the other thing? So you'd be like, literally on that side, it would be, okay, well, I just live in the same rut day in, day out. Maybe there's somebody at like a corner store you see all the time where it's like, like how did they give up their dreams, or what happened to them where they let this be okay for them? And I'm not going to say what that is because it's different for everybody and everybody's got different living situations, but I think we can all relate to knowing somebody or a certain class of a person or something where it's like, I don't ever want to be that person, right? There's something, I firmly believe that we all start somewhere where it's like, I'm awesome. I can do comics or I can write. I want to show people my stuff. But you might be scared, but we all have that passion in us. And then something happens. I don't know what the hell it is, but something happens in life where all of a sudden it's just like there's no time to think.
It's like a steam truck just like ran you over.
Yeah, and it's a shameful. It's, I don't know. It hurts. It hurts whenever I hear like somebody say like an artist that I used to know, I'd be like, oh, so how's drawing going? Like, not like I really don't care if you went to the gym and you're losing weight. That's great. I'm glad you're healthy and stuff, but like, what happened to the art? Like, what's going on? Like, are you pushing for it? Like, what's happening? And they say something, oh, I'm done drawing. And that breaks my heart. It's like, how can you just stop drawing? Like, unless what you did in the beginning was you were just drawing because, people told you to draw.
Yeah. And that's like, another fear, obviously, is, are you following someone else's plan or your own? Are you drawing because your father was an artist? Are you doing woodworking because your father did it? Are you doing this because your parent did it, or because someone else told you should do it, or someone says that this is what is expected of you? And that is another fear that we all have, is, are we doing what we really truly want to do, or what we feel is expected?
Whoa. Please tell me you guys in the chat room heard that. Dude, right now, I don't know if it's lag on my end or lag on your end. You sound like a Cylon, like a robot. And it's creepy as hell.
Oh, man, not this again.
Oh. Anyway, so, okay, with that, I'm just going to wrap it up. Everyone that's in the chat, thanks so much for stopping by. If you want to stick around for probably about I'll try 5 minutes because I'm sure we all got stuff we got to do. But anyway, thank you guys so much.
Oh, yeah, Skype does that from time to time. I hate it.
Oh my god!
Especially when the connection gets like strained.
Okay. Anyway, everybody have a great night. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Like I said, every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you just joined in now and you don't know what time that is, just look at your clock, set it back an hour, and that's when we start. So, again, you can check out my website, my work, at jonathanrector.com, and you can check out all my stuff and garbage and whatever there. And Eric?
And with me, you can check out my stuff at my YouTube account, which also links to my DeviantArt. So I'll just give you my YouTube, which is youtube.com/EricFares123. For those in the chat, I will leave another link just to help you guys out.
Awesome. So, again, keep reading comics, you guys. Keep making comics. Talk to you soon, and we'll see you next time.